Hi everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to Venus University International. I'm Juliana Berewat, but you can call me Jube, and I'm from CIDER, Center for Innovations, Design and Entrepreneurship Research. Today we are going to know to get more information regarding to what is CIDER, what does CIDER do? Okay, it's all about CIDER. What is CIDER? What do CIDER do? And we are going to hear it from Pak Ari Mardiono, manager of CIDER. Pak Ari, silakan Pak Ari.
Okay, thank you very much, Bu Jube. I need to get my privilege upgraded so that I can share my screen. Can
Okay. Sure, Pak.
All right, okay, thank you very much. Okay, all right. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly, Pak Ari.
Okay, good. All right. What I'm going to share today is basically the entrepreneurship journey that all of you will experience at BINUS International. And at CIDER, the Center for Innovation, Design and Entrepreneurship Research, we will help you to engage in this journey so that all of you will have the experience to become entrepreneurs. And at the end of the day, if you choose to become a full-time entrepreneur, you'll be able to set up a startup and develop your own company. Let me start with introducing myself first. My name is Ari Margiono. I'm the manager of Center for Design and Entrepreneurship Research, or people usually call it CIDER at BINUS International. I was educated in Australia and United Kingdom. I got my PhD in entrepreneurship from Australia and my master's in social science from United Kingdom in Aberystwyth, Wales. I mostly teach master's students, so I usually teach in the evening or on Saturdays, but I also teach University of Newcastle courses like business venturing and social entrepreneurship at BINUS International. So some of you might meet me in University of Newcastle classes as well. I occasionally also teach some BINUS International classes as well. So maybe in the near future, we will meet in classes. This is another important thing that I would like to remember. You can call me Ari. Just on first name basis, I'm fine. You can call me Ari. But if you're not comfortable with first name basis, you can just call me Pa Ari or Mr. Ari. But don't call me Sir Ari because I haven't been knighted by the Queen yet. So you can't call me Sir Ari. Just call me Ari or Mr. Ari or Pa Ari is fine. Pa Ari is fine. Pa Ari is probably more preferable. Okay. What are these guys? What are the similarities of these guys? You've got Tokopedia, William Tanuwijaya, you've got Kevin from Gula, you've got another Kevin from Pinterest, and you've got Jovan from Tanihub. What are the similarities of these guys? Yes, you are right. Those are BINUSians. They are graduates of BINUS, and they are actually, and three of them are actually from BINUS International. Gula, Pinterest, and Tanihub are BINUS International students. And they have been successful in securing funding from venture capitals to set up their own company. In fact, if you see Tanihub, you see a big building with Tanihub logo in Kuningan, if I'm not mistaken. And that company, one of the owners actually BINUSian graduates, Jovan. And Tokopedia, who doesn't know Tokopedia? Tokopedia is actually one of the largest e-commerce platform in Indonesia. Is also set up and owned by BINUS graduates. So, as a BINUSian, you've got a lot of opportunity to create a company, to develop a startup, and to become entrepreneurs. But hang on. Is it something like turning your palm or something like that? Is it something like, an instant thing? Maybe not. It is something that involves a journey, involves a process, involve something that how do you say that involves a lot of failure or something like that. Let me show you a story of Steve Jobs. I'll show you a short video about Steve Jobs, how he came about to become a successful entrepreneur like he was. He passed away in 2011, but the journey that he experienced in his life apparently influenced the way he started up Apple and the way he designed Apple computer. I hope it works. Let me show you the video.
When Steve Jobs was born, his biological parents had no choice but to put the baby up for adoption, and he was soon adopted by his new parents. Steve Jobs was a bright kid, but unfortunately he was bullied at school, so he preferred to spend his time alone. And he was bullied so hard that he wanted to transfer schools or he would never attend school again. And at his new school he saw his first computer at the age of 12, and he took his first electronic class. Steve Jobs was a very smart boy, but he never liked the school learning process. He loved to learn in unconventional ways, so during his high school years, out of 4 GPA, he averaged a 2.65 GPA, meaning he wasn't a bad student, but certainly he wasn't the best. He was average. After he graduated high school, he went to Reed College, but Steve Jobs dropped out in the first 6 months. Even though he dropped out, he was unofficially attending classes that interest him, such as calligraphy. At that time, he struggled to survive. He didn't have a place to stay, so he slept on the floor of his friend's room and returned bottles for 5-cent deposit to buy food. It was one of the hardest periods of his life. He also spent some time backpacking around India, and that trip was one of the most enlightening experiences of his life. He dived into a spiritual quest of discovering his higher self and practicing meditation, and these powerful experiences helped him create one of the most iconic brands of all time. So Steve Jobs and his friend Steve Wozniak founded Apple from his parents' garage. In 10 years, Apple had grown from just 2 people in a garage into a $2 billion company. In 1984, Apple released their first Macintosh computer, but the sales were disappointing. So in 1985, Jobs was pushed out of his own company. At 30, I was out, and very publicly out. What had been the focus of my entire adult life was gone, and it was devastating. He was disappointed, but despite everything, he later recognized this experience as a blessing in disguise. I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again, less sure about everything. It freed me to enter one of the most creative periods of my life. He even founded a new company. After Steve Jobs left Apple, the company found little success and continued to struggle. And with the success of Microsoft, Apple was on the verge of bankruptcy. But in 1997, Steve Jobs, with his creative ideas, rejoined Apple and saved the company. And the rest is history. Apple became the first trillion-dollar company. Unfortunately, Steve Jobs passed away in 2011, but left behind a legacy and inspiring words and wisdom. His success story is amazing. He was an average student, failed many times in his career, was rejected, fired, disappointed, but he became one of the greatest visionaries of the 21st century. So whenever you feel lost, confused, disappointed, embarrassed, look yourself in the mirror. You're not gonna live forever. Ask yourself, what can I do to make my life better? Stop living in fear. Get up and fight for your dreams. Find what is truly important to you and never doubt yourself. It doesn't matter what people tell you. You have the power to create the life you deserve. Remember one thing, Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life.
Okay, you've got a lot of success stories from the entrepreneurs, but many didn't realize that there are many things behind the stories, many rejections, many disappointment, many things that didn't go as expected. Look at this example over here. When Pinterest was started, it was something that people didn't realize in the beginning that making spreadsheet all day at Google might push ban into creating Pinterest. There were ups and downs in the process. It took, a couple of years from 2008 into 2013 until today, where a lot of people are using Pinterest and getting a lot of revenue from the business. Same with Airbnb as well. Airbnb was started in 2007, and in 2014 it was one of the most valuable company. It took a long journey from 2007 to 2014. Now Airbnb has to cope with COVID-19 because of the decreasing travel and decreasing tourism, but I'm sure that they will survive and they will be able to pivot into something different, something new. What are the important message that we heard from all of this? Actually, you don't have to feel lost in life when you're doing entrepreneurial things, because it is a long process, a long journey. The Steve Jobs video gave example that the entrepreneurial process is something that is not instant. It's not like instant noodle. It's something that take a lot of times and take a lot of contemplations, reflections, and apparently many successful entrepreneurs are actually in their 30s or in their 40s, not in their 20s or in their teenage years, because you need to have a lot of experience, you need to have a lot of failure to be able to become a very good entrepreneur. Apparently, when you're talking about entrepreneurship, failure is the name of the game. You have to be able to embrace failure. You need to be able to cope with failure. You need to be able to recognize failure, and you need to be able to not avoid failure. You need to be able to fail quickly, to be able to, how do you say that? To be able to immediately understand that things doesn't work as it is a failure, and to move forward. So it's the rebound that matters. It's not the failure. Failure is a necessity of life. If you become entrepreneurs, if you want to become entrepreneurs, you need to be able to understand failure. You need to be able to embrace failure. It's the rebound that matters. You need to be able to rebound after you fail. The Steve Jobs video told you all about rebound. The graph that I showed you earlier showed that rebound is actually the most important thing. So you have to try. You have to start trying things. You have to start creating something. If you want to become entrepreneurs, you need to fail. You need to try again. You need to fail. You need to try again. And only through those processes, you need to be able to get success at the end of the day. Now, the question is, how can we rebound after we experience failure? how can we do that in a safe way so that it doesn't harm ourselves, it doesn't harm our marks, it doesn't harm our GPA at the end of the day. I mean, we need to embrace failure, but we don't want to have GPA below 2.0, right? I mean, we have to keep our GPA above 2.0, but you need to embrace failure and you need to rebound after experiencing failure. When we're talking about entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial context, we're talking about the pre-incubation process. In CIDER, we call that pre-incubation process. Basically, the process where you develop ideas, where you safely concept your ideas, where you safely testing your ideas and validating ideas. We at Center for Innovation, Design and Entrepreneurship Research at BINUS Senayan will help you to do that. We'll help you to rebound after you fail in developing ideas, after you fail in pitching and presenting your ideas to an investor, for example, by creating a process for you to matchmake or to find some new partners, find some new investors, and find some new resources for you to develop your better proposal, better ideas, and help you to get through the venture creation process. So these are some of the framework or the model that we're using. Basically, we're going to have boot camps. We're going to have 3+1 boot camps where you guys, after finishing Oreo classes, you'll be able to enter an entrepreneurship track for 1 year. But in the near future, we're going to also develop digital bootcamp, where all of you can apply to digital bootcamp while you're taking your regular classes and start to experiencing the entrepreneurship process. Because the sooner you do the entrepreneurship process, the better. Throughout your journey in BINUS International, you will get classes, you will get courses like Project Hatchery and Entrepreneurship Hatchery, where you learn how to develop ideas, to develop business prototype, to develop business models, and to test all of them to the market. As I've said earlier, that the important thing in this process is actually to experience fail safely so that you will be able to rebound, to bounce back without hurting your mark, without hurting your GPA, and without hurting your career in BINUS International or your study in BINUS International, if you will. This is the learning approach that you will experience during this process. Basically, it's going to be like cycles like this. It's going to be a controlled chaos kind of thing. It's going to be a discussion group. It's going to be project development. It's going to be a market survey. It's going to be prototype development. It's going to be repeating several processes in several iterations. It's going to be fun, basically. It's going to be something that will look different from your maybe classes during high schools or junior high. It's going to be a more independent kind of work. It's more exploration of your interest and so on and so forth. Developing your ideas, testing your ideas, and developing an appropriate business model at the end so that you'll be able to scale up your ideas and so on and so forth. So again, it's going to be fun. It will emphasize on experiencing failures safely, so that at the end you'll be able to come up with new product. You'll be able to create better outcomes and solutions. Now, after this, we're gonna invite you to experience a bit of this process. So in the next few iterations, in the next few sessions, today and next week, I'm not mistaken. There's going to be several sessions where you will experience a bit of this process. So you will get a taste on how the entrepreneurship journey might look like when you're studying at Venus International. Just please remember that we're not expecting you to become a rocket science or creating something that is perfect at the end of the day. What important is that you experience failure, and what important is actually you embrace failure so that you rebound and be able to bounce back. So those are the important message that we would like you to experience in the next few process and few iterations. Let me introduce some of us in the Center for Innovation Design and Entrepreneurship Research. We're basically here in Binus Senayan and FX to help you to run through the entrepreneurship journey or to experience the entrepreneurship journey. Ibu Juliana Berawat, the one that opened this session, is responsible for teaching and managing the Project Hatchery and Entrepreneurship Hatchery classes. So whenever you're entering the Project Hatchery and Entrepreneurship Hatchery classes in the upcoming semester, Ibu Juliana Berawat will be the one who help you to make sure that the experience is enjoyable and the experience is good. Indra Kurniawan, or Indra, is actually the one who is responsible for incubation process or pre-incubation process in the 3+1 segments or 3+1 enrichment program. So those of you who plan to become a full-time entrepreneurs or plan to set up a company, you can contact Indra, and Indra will be able to help you to get into the right path and the right track during the enrichment or during your courses or during your classes. So that's Indra. And we've also had Nurlina. Nurlina is responsible for managing the operation of the center. So whenever there is something related to administrative stuff like paperwork or attendance, well, maybe not attendance, but things related to bootcamp implementations, you can contact Nurlina for that. Our email is cider@binus.edu. So if you have anything, if you would like to ask anything, if you want to become an entrepreneur and don't know how to become one, and you don't know how to start, you don't know where to search for entrepreneurship resources, anything related to your desire or your interest to become an entrepreneur, just contact us at cider@binus.edu. This is some examples of the activities that we've done in the last few years. As you can see on the left side of the pictures, we've done market testing. This time it was a cookies, if I'm not mistaken, or it was a food, basically, startup, which is a food-based startup. And they were doing market testing in a station, Palmera station, if I'm not mistaken. And you can see some pictures of workshop, boot camps, discussions, group working, business model development, and also some general lecture, or we call it guest lecture classes, where successful entrepreneurs, alumni, mentors attended and gave motivational and insightful speech. so that we'll be able to listen to them on how to navigate the rocky entrepreneurship journey and how to stay certified in that process, if you will. Before the end of my introduction here, I'd like to bring you up to the speech that Steve Jobs did some time ago. He made a speech in Stanford, if I'm not mistaken, Stanford University for a graduation, and he said these beautiful things. He says these beautiful sentences, this beautiful few points, if you will, that helps a lot of entrepreneurs, not only entrepreneurs, a lot of people to stand on their feet, to be himself, to be herself, to be productive, and to contribute to societies or something like that. He said, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the result of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinion drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. It's very important for entrepreneurs to listen to your heart, to listen to people's heart, to listen to your intuitions, and not living someone else's life. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Pak Ari, for your information related to CIDER. There are some questions actually from our new students. Actually, how to build up a business, all right? What should we do? Let's say, for example, I am a new student here, okay? And I want to build my business. Later on, within 4 years, I will have my own business. So what should I do during the 4 years in BINUS University?
Okay, and the, well, basically you're gonna have chances to attend classes, which is designed as workshops, and these classes will help you to come up with ideas, to come up with new things, to be how do you say, to be independent, to set up something unique, something special, if you will, for you, and to think on how to set up those ideas into a business.
Okay, we have some questions related with your plan, regarding to your plan to have a business. Please ask if you have it, because we have Pari over here. You students, you may ask.
So if you have any questions, just
please do so. Yes.
Yeah, please do ask. I've seen. Hang on.
We have Ajarin. Please teach us how to do business. Ajarin kita bisnis dong kakak, something like that. Okay.
Hang on.
Or.
Hang on, there's no questions. Or any of you have experience in setting up a business, you probably can share.
Anyone who has questions or...
Oh, there's a question.
There's
Yeah, I think this is the one that you mentioned, Bu Jube. Ajarin cara bikin bisnis dong, kakak. Miguel Joy Sugianto. Okay, the first thing that you need to think of when you're thinking of, or when you want to set up a business, is think of what kind of solutions that you'd like to give to people's problems. So you need to tap into people's problem first, see what are the things that people are struggling and people are difficult or something like that. And then starting from that particular problems, try to find that particular solution. Let me tell you a story of Gojek. when Gojek started, it was basically trying to solve a simple or trying to solve a problem in society. What was that? Traffic jam. It was heavy. Jakarta was heavy with a lot of traffic jam at that time. I mean, now we're still facing traffic jam, but when Gojek was initiated, I think back in 2011 or 2010 or something like that, traffic jam was horrible in Jakarta. And then Nadiem Makarim, who was the founder of Gojek, thought that there must be a solution to this problem. And he came up with a platform that links Ojek driver, that links this motorcycle Ojek with those people who wants to get the motorcycle Ojek. Gojek was there to solve that particular problem. And any successful business in this world, long time ago until now, and many years behind until today, is basically trying to solve people's problems, trying to solve any problems in society. The more or the better you solve the problem, usually the more revenue that you get, because it cater the bigger size of the market. So the more people that you help, the more revenue that you will get, usually at the end of it. Look at Tokopedia, for example. The way Tokopedia solve problems is by helping people to buy things that they couldn't have bought before, right? I mean, they needed to go to market, they need to go to ambassador, they needed to go to different places to get electronics, for example. But with Tokopedia, with just one click, you get all you need in the front door of your house or something like that. So if you want to start a good business, think of what are the things that you be able to solve the people's problems. What are the people's problems? What are the problems that people face, and how you solve it? That's the start. I mean, that's the thing that we're gonna discuss, and we're gonna experience during the project Hatchery and entrepreneurship Hatchery process. In fact, in this session that you're gonna have after this, and in the next few weeks, you're gonna experience those things. You're gonna identify several problems. You're gonna identify the problems that people face or people encounter, and try to find solution for that. Once you are good in doing that, you'll be able to create something successful in the market. Hopefully that answered the question.
Yes, I think that's a very clear answer, Ari. And we have one more questions related to the failures. One of the questions from the students is how to overcome fear of starting a new business. Okay.
Overcome fear of starting. Okay.
Of starting new business.
The biggest fear in starting a new business is usually failure. You are afraid of failure usually. That's the reason why in Venus International, in the courses that we are going to have, we're designing so that you can embrace failure. You don't have to be afraid of failure. You don't need to be afraid of failure if you know how to rebound, right? You don't need to be afraid. How do you say that? You don't need to be afraid to get into the darkness if you know that there's actually the light at the end of the tunnel or something like that, right? That's probably not the appropriate analogy, but that's the thing. You don't have to be afraid of things if you know how to overcome the issues related to those things. So in our classes, in our courses, we're designing in a way that you can familiarize yourself with failure and bounce back and rebound and develop a strategy to rebound, develop a strategy to get out from failure. You need to be able to strategically how do you say that? Strategically bounce back, if you will. Strategically leave the failure behind and move into something new. You need to be able to move on strategically. Those are the things that we're going to teach you in classes.
Okay, great. Perhaps this is related with the next questions. CIDER speakers will be actually entrepreneurs, right? Not just textbook analysis. Entrepreneurs, right? This is
okay. This is interesting. There's a lot of questions like this happening, or a lot of questions about academics and entrepreneurs. There are two different. Let me show you something. Right. The differences between entrepreneurs, practitioners, and academics. I am academics. I'm a doctor. I'm a PhD in entrepreneurs. I'm a researcher. But let me show you why you need to have both entrepreneurs and academics. Just a second. Bear with me. I have a slide for that.
Yeah, but while you're waiting, I'm just going to inform others that we have 12 more messages, which means that we have more questions related with this one. So perhaps we can have a kind of sessions later on at the end of the day of our serious activities later on, yeah, related with this one, because many questions are asked by our students.
Okay. When you are learning or studying entrepreneurship, you need to learn from both the academics and the entrepreneurs. You need to be able to absorb knowledge and experience from the academics and entrepreneurs, because they're operating on a different level and operating on a different playing field. Academics are usually focusing, scientific research. They're doing observation. They're not becoming entrepreneurs. They're not experiencing entrepreneurial process, but they're becoming academics focusing on observation and scientific research. While entrepreneurs are experiencing process, while entrepreneurs are doing the things. Academics see general tendencies. They see pattern, while entrepreneurs using his or her single experience. They're just experiencing and using his or her single experience. While academics see a pattern, see a broad-based perspective or something like that. The benefit of this is that academics will be able to see big picture, identify causal factors, predict, well, probably not predict, but see the patterns and analyze the pattern so they know what causes this and what are the consequences or something like that. While entrepreneurs, they don't see the big pictures usually. They only understand their experience, their own experience. Their weakness, academics are usually abstract and theoretical, while entrepreneurs are usually trial and error, using one size fit all kind of thing. One size doesn't fit all kind of thing. He only focuses on his experience, trial and error, and so on and so on. Now let me give you a question. If you want to become an entrepreneur, you learn from Steve Jobs, you follow exactly the steps that Steve Jobs did. Drop out of schools, for example. Would you be able to become entrepreneurs? Would you be able to become entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs? No, apparently that's not the case. Another example, if you follow Bill Gates, for example, if you follow Bill Gates, step by step, stage by stage, would you be able to become like Bill Gates? No, apparently not. Apparently that's not the case. Apparently, what Bill Gates did specifically was special to Bill Gates. What Steve Jobs did specifically was special to Steve Jobs. Both of them were dropped out from school. But does it mean that entrepreneurs, or to become a successful entrepreneurs, needs to be dropped out from school? Apparently not. The academics did a lot of research and show that most entrepreneurs are actually graduated. Even many of them have master's degree, which means that the experience of Steve Jobs, this experience of one entrepreneur, is not a good, how do you say that? It's not a good single example. You need to see pattern. You need to see broad-based perspective or something like that. Now, for that, you need academics. In CIDER, you have a combination of academics and entrepreneurs. So me, because this is a university, I am an academics. I do a lot of research. I do a lot of observation. I develop patterns. I develop general tendencies. I map big pictures for you to navigate on this forest of entrepreneurship or something like that. But at the same time, we will have mentors who will be able to help you to navigate the practice of entrepreneurship. And these mentors are practitioners. These mentors are entrepreneurs, are real entrepreneurs who are setting up a business or something like that. So that's the beauty of learning entrepreneurship in the university, is because you've got a combination of academia and a combination of entrepreneurships, a combination of entrepreneurs, real entrepreneurs, surrounding you to be able to set up a business. This process, this entrepreneurship process, only happens in universities. You won't get a combination between academia and entrepreneurs in other places. You can go to co-working spaces. You can go to other groups to study entrepreneurs, but you only get experience of entrepreneurs, experience of that particular entrepreneurs. But in universities, you get a combination of rich knowledge from academia and a powerful practice from entrepreneurs, something like that. Hopefully it answered the question.
Thank you so much, Pari. This is a very interesting. As a wrap up, actually we don't have much time, Pari,
Yes.
because we have another activities. As a wrap, Venus CIDER provides students with an experience and knowledge from academia, as well as practices from our mentors to become an entrepreneur. Correct, Pari? Okay.
Yeah,
now, we have actually some more questions, but I'm afraid that we still have some more activities that we need to have, which actually will help us to provide you with some suggestions regarding to your personalities. That's why within 30 minutes, we are going to ask you to fill in the form of Big 5 personalities. By filling these Big 5 personalities, then later on we are going to know what kind of personalities that you have. How can we help fit into your personalities? So therefore, for all new freshmen who just say, I need you to scan this barcode and try to answer the questions related to the Big 5 personalities. For RL, while they are still doing or filling the form, you can turn on the music so that I hope that you can fill it before, you can finish it before you go or join to another sessions. Because after this, there will be a series of CIDER's activities, okay? I'm going to meet you in a small class later on. Thank you guys. Ari, thank you Birma, and thank you for all FL. Now you can see it, right? Okay, I need your help to fill in this Big 5 Personalities questionnaire. Then this will give us some input or feedback of your personalities and how can we help